guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Cozy Crochet Monster, and today I have this cute little bee stuffed toy planned for you. So, to make this stuffed little bee, you're going to need some scrap yarn. I'm using yellow, black, and white. Then you're going to need a 4.25mm hook, but if you want to size it up, you can use bigger yarn and a bigger hook size. You're also going to need some scissors and a needle. And then lastly, I'm using a little safety pin, and then some eyes, and then stuffing, of course. Okay, to get started, we're going to take our yellow and make a cinch circle. Then you're going to single crochet 6 into the circle. Cinch that up, and then we're going to single crochet twice into every stitch around, and so at the end of row 2 we should have 12 stitches. So single crochet once to the next stitch, and then single crochet once again into the same stitch, and just repeat that all the way around until you have 12 stitches. Once you have 12 stitches, we're going to start row 3. So this starts out with an increase, so single crochet twice into the next stitch, and then just single crochet once into the stitch after that. Oops. And then just repeat that all the way around. So single crochet twice into the next stitch, and then single crochet once. At the end of row 3, you should have 18 stitches. So once you finish your third row, you should have 18 stitches. We're going to do one last row of increasing. So single crochet twice into the next stitch, and then single crochet once into the next 2 stitches. And just repeat that 6 times around until you have 24 stitches. So single crochet twice, and then single crochet once into the next 2 stitches. Okay, so once you finish your 4th row, you have 24 stitches, and so I'm going to just single crochet once into the next stitch, and then put in my stitch marker. So now we're just going to work straight single crochet around. So I'm putting in my stitch marker so I can easily count my rows. So we're going to do about 3 rows of just straight single crochet. So just single crochet in every single stitch all the way around for 3 rows, and I'll see you there. Okay, so I've just finished 2 rows of my straight single crocheting, and I'm now going to change colors and start the stripes. So this next part can be slightly challenging, but once you get the handle of it, it's pretty easy. So I'm just going to show you one color change, and then I'll just tell you to repeat it. And basically, we're just going to do 2 rows of black, 3 rows of white, and then 2 rows of black again. And then I'll come back and show you the rest of it. Okay. So I have taken out my stitch marker just so it's gone. I'm going to take my yellow yarn. I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. There we go. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch, but instead of using the yellow yarn, I'm going to pick up the black and slip stitch with the black yarn. So this can be a little difficult. So just like that, and then we're just going to chain 1 and single crochet back into that same stitch. So when I'm going to crochet into that stitch, I'm going to go over my black and yellow yarn, just so it kind of secures it down. And that way it's kind of being sewn in as we work. So I'm just going to tighten both of those strands real quick, like that. And so now you're just going to single crochet all the way around for 2 rows. So with the color change, you don't really need to put the stitch marker back in because you'll see where you did change. But you just want to make sure you have 24 stitches in each row. So I'll see you when I finish the black. I'll show you the color change back to the yellow, and then I'll see you when we change back from the yellow to black to yellow again. Okay, so I'm just finishing my second row in black. And if you notice, I did not cut my yellow yarn because what I'm going to do is just travel it on the inside and keep working with it because it's not going to be seen from the inside. So I'm just going to simply go and so I'm just going to simply slip stitch into the next stitch, but instead of using the black, I'm going to bring up this yellow like that, and then chain 1 and single crochet back into that same stitch. So that's how you're going to do the color change from black or yellow to black again. Do 2 rows of black, and then from black to yellow, I'll show you as we decrease for the back of the bee. But for this yellow, for right now, you're just going to do 3 rows of single crochet. And I'll see you when we get back. Okay, so I'm just finishing up my 3 rows of the yellow, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing that I did before from the black, or from the yellow to the black. So I'm just going to take my black yarn and slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet. And then you're just going to do 2 rows of single crochet in black, and then we're going to change back to the yellow and finish up our little bee. So I am just finishing up my row of black, or my 2 rows of black. And before I transfer back to my yellow yarn, I'm going to put my little eyes in for my bee. So I'm just going to use these little eyes, and they have these little backs. So just find, oops, a good place you would like your eyes to be. Okay. That looks pretty good. So once you have them in a good spot, like that, it looks really cute, you can just go ahead and put the little backs on them. So I like doing this now before I put any stuffing or I close it off, because then it's more difficult because the opening is a lot tighter. And there's my little bee eyes. Okay, so once you have your yellow yarn, you're just going to single crochet in every stitch around for 1 row, and then we'll start our decreasing. Okay, so I'm just finishing my first row of yellow. So now we're going to start the decreasing. So we're going to single crochet 2 together. So you're going to act like you're going to single crochet like normal, but instead of finishing it, you're just going to go into the next stitch and single crochet and then pull through all 3. And then you're going to single crochet once the next 2 stitches, and then just repeat that. So single crochet 2 together, single crochet once into the next 2 stitches, and repeat all the way around. You should have 18 stitches when you get back. Okay, so I'm just finishing up my row. So now I should have 18 stitches, and you're just going to decrease another 2 rows. So single crochet twice together, and then we're just going to single crochet once. And then repeat that all the way around. Single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet once into the next stitch. At the end of this row, you should have 12 stitches. So I have 12 stitches and it's kind of closing up, as you can see. It's taking its little bee form. And so now I'm going to stuff it. So I'm just using polyester fill to stuff my little bee. You're not gonna need very much, but you want it to be firm enough, but it's still nice and squishy. So just stuff it however much you want. Okay, I think that's about good. So now we're just going to finish up our little bee. So now we're going to single crochet 2 together in every single stitch around. So this can be a little weird and a little funky, especially with the stuffing in there, but just take it slow. And at the end of this row, you should have 6 stitches. Okay, so I finished that, and so I have only 6 stitches left. I'm going to single crochet, oops, I'm gonna tighten that up a little bit, maybe once, twice more, just to close it up as much as I can. And then we're just going to sew the bottom together. So just like that. So it might be a little weird, but that's all good. So I'm just going to cut myself a little bit like that. Fasten off. I'm going to take my needle and just sew the bee together. So you can do this however you like. I like sewing it from like different sides across, just to make sure that none of the stuffing is gonna fall out. But a little bit is all you really need. Just like that, and then I'm going to disperse the rest of the thread into the bee's body. Like that. There's our little bee body. And so now all we have to do is make the little wings. So to do that, we're just going to take some white yarn. Let me grab some. And we're going to, oops, start out like we did with the bee body. We're going to start with a cinch circle, chain 1, and then you're going to want to single crochet 6 times into the loop. Okay, so once you have 6 stitches, you want to cinch that up real tight. And I'm just going to work over my tail as we go. So now we're going to, oops, that's really tight, single crochet 2 together. So this can be a little difficult to get your hook into. There we go. Or sorry, we're not gonna single, we're gonna single crochet twice into the first stitch. Just like that. And then we're going to single crochet in every stitch around, and we should have 12 stitches by the end of this row. So I'm just finishing up that row. I have 12 stitches, and now we're going to do one more row of increase. So single crochet twice in the next stitch, and then single crochet once into the stitch after that. I'm going to just repeat that all the way around. You should have 18 stitches at the end of this row. So I'm just finishing up my row, and I have 18 stitches. So for the next 2 rows, I'm just going to simply single crochet in every single stitch, and that is all you have to do for the wing. So you're just going to go all the way around for 2 rows, and then you're going to want to cut off a nice long tail so we can sew the wings on, and then make another wing. Finish my little wing, and I'm going to cut off a nice tail. Oops. Like that. Then I'm just going to fasten off. And then I'm just going to kind of weave that in a little bit. Just make it like that. So now I made a second one. So make sure you have two. And then you're going to take your little bee and we're going to sew it on. So take your first wing, thread up your needle. And so basically this is just however you would like it to look. Just lining it up in the middle of the back, making sure there's enough space on both sides for the wing to be. And then I'm just going to use my needle. I'm going to go down into the bee's body and then come back up like that. Kind of like a back stitch, but not really. So I'm going to do that a couple of times across. Just so that it's nice and secure. And then I'm just gonna go back across. Once more, like that. So once you think it's pretty secure, so then you're just going to want to make a little knot by threading up your needle, pulling it through. I should have done this with a little bit more length. And then, so you're just going to make a little knot and pull the tail of the thread through the loop. Pull it tight, that makes a little knot so it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can just sew that right into the body, or weave it in, I should say. Like that. So there we have one wing done. Oops, he's got a little fuzz on his face. And then you're just going to want to repeat that on the other side. Okay, so then you can just straighten out the wings a little bit. And there you go. There's my little bee. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!